Scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this call's gone for you?
Probably not very well. I think my point I want to make is the difference between Harry and Prince Andrew is, I think, from how I understand it, Harry chose to leave, take his wife and family to California, like you said earlier, to protect her and to protect them and take them away. So I don't think that he's not being invited or not being included. I think he's chosen to take himself away. And then on the Prince Andrew side, I think I personally don't think he's done anything wrong. So he's not taking himself away and he's trying to push himself back in because what he thinks he has or hasn't done is very minor. So I don't think that calling him the friend of a paedophile and condemning him for being friends with a paedophile, I think it's unfair because there are so many people that have friends that have done awful things.
No, but
that's not his
he
fault.
stayed mates afterwards, after he'd come out of jail.
What I was saying to the lady before I spoke to you is you don't know what conversations are being had or have been had behind closed doors. You don't know what Prince Andrew said to Jeffrey Epstein behind closed doors. You don't know if they were being best friends or whether they actually went there and said, you know what, this is awful, I can't believe you've done this and all the rest of it.
No, you're right.
You're
right. No, you got me bang to rights, Jack. It's perfectly possible he flew all the way to New York after his mate had got out of jail to say, gosh, I can't believe what a wrong 'un you are.
No, but
you mean all those teenage girls that were hanging around at your private island? You mean that some of them were there and they didn't want to? I had absolutely no idea, Jeffrey. Look at the embarrassment you've caused me. Shame on you and your international sex trafficking paedophile ways. You're right, Jack. It could easily have been that conversation he flew out to have.
But I think you don't know that.
I'm agreeing with you, mate. It could absolutely. He could have flown all the way to New York to say all those girls that were knocking around, who I asked you whether they were underage, and you assured me that they weren't, and they were all there entirely of their own volition. God, the embarrassment! You disgusting man! Shame on you for offering me massages with them and taking my photograph with my arms around. Shame on you, Jeffrey Epstein, for your disgusting behaviour. You're right, mate.
I think what we understand about Jeffrey Epstein is he was a master groomer, manipulator, and horrible person.
You don't know that. You don't know what conversations he had in private. He might have been a lovely guy. No, sorry, I'm just deploying your own logic. I'm just deploying your own logic here, Jack.
Just to go back on what you just said then, we know that's not true because we know the crimes he was convicted of and the things that we know he did.
How do we know that? How do we know that?
Because we know.
How?
We know that is fact.
Yeah, because he went to court. And faced the accusations.
But
so now,
Andrew,
off the top of your head, who didn't?
Andrew never did.
Exactly. How did he avoid it?
Well, by doing what everyone else would have done in that situation.
So you, innocent of sexual assault allegations, would pay off the accuser rather than have your day in court and prove your innocence?
If I...
It's a simple question, Jack.
I wouldn't because I don't have that kind of money.
It's all right. She's going to take 50 quid, mate. Are you going to pay her off or are you going to have your day in court?
If she's going to take 50 quid for a sexual assault, then I would imagine that there's something deeper going on there than... if you're so traumatised and upset and you're willing to be paid off and not actually go through the process to get the person that you're accusing of doing something awful... £12 million.
You realise that you are essentially acting here as an apologist for someone accused of sexual assault?
No.
No, you are. That's not an opinion. That's just counting. Here's the man accused of sexual assault, and here's Jack in Bedford defending him.
I'm not defending him
per
se.
Because totally are.
I just think that you can't... I think you have to...
Go on.
The court of public opinion is can be... I don't know what the right word to use is, but...
You're telling me.
I don't know how to word it in a way. Judging someone...
Do you know why you can't word it?
Why is that?
Because your thoughts don't make sense.
Okay.
And your thought is, Prince Harry brought this on himself by sticking up for himself and his wife, whereas Prince Andrew is an innocent victim of circumstances conspiring against him. And that's why you can't say it in words, because if you did, you'd realise how ridiculous you are.
No, but I don't think what is being done to Harry is fair to him.
No, but he brought it on himself.
No, I don't think he brought it. I don't.
But that's literally what you said when you rang in. That was your first point.
No. Yeah, he did
chose to leave the royal family.
Yeah, he did choose to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that was a bad thing to do. I think he's done that for, like you said earlier, to protect him and his family and his wife.
As opposed to paying £12 million to keep yourself out of the dock where you're accused of multiple sexual assaults. And yet here you are siding with the latter against the former.
I don't think that is necessarily the right thing. I don't think necessarily Prince Andrew should have done. I think he should have just stood up and defended himself.
Well, that's changed in the last 30 seconds. That's changed in the last 30. You said literally 2 minutes ago he did what everybody else would have done in that situation.
to the...
Scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this call's gone for you?
Probably not very well.
Well, what?
Quite high up on, well, probably 10 if 10's bad.
Pretty close to 10. I'll give you 9.5, Jack, because, you know, it's not lunchtime yet, and you might have,
But I want to make it very
low blood
clear
sugar
that
levels. No, mate, you've had your fun.
No, just in my own defence. I'm just trying to put forward for my own defence that I'm just trying to make the point of someone else.
Okay.
I'm not saying that necessarily. This is 100% my opinion. But
good. Well, next time, don't ring in with anybody else's opinion but your own. All right. Otherwise, people might get confused.
Welcome to C News, the channel where trending stories meet sharp commentary, and no headline is safe from a little wit. Whether it's royal drama, celebrity chaos, or the latest viral sensation, we break it down with facts, flair, and a healthy dose of sarcasm. If you're tired of boring news or predictable takes, hit subscribe and join the conversation where the stories are hot, the commentary is sizzling, and the truth is always served with a side of humor. Don't just watch the news, experience it with C News. A critique of James O'Brien's handling of the caller on Prince Andrew versus Prince Harry. James O'Brien's ability to engage callers in nuanced and challenging discussions is a hallmark of his style, and this exchange demonstrates his skill in dissecting arguments to reveal their inconsistencies. Here, O'Brien effectively uses rhetorical techniques to highlight the flaws in the caller's reasoning, leaving them struggling to maintain a coherent position. Below is a professional critique of how O'Brien successfully achieved this outcome. James O'Brien has a rare talent for turning Sussex skeptics into verbal pretzels. Armed with sharp logic and a no-nonsense approach, he peels back their arguments layer by layer, leaving their biases floundering in broad daylight. Whether it's exposing the irony of defending Prince Andrew while vilifying Prince Harry or calmly pointing out the hypocrisy in their outrage, O'Brien's wit cuts through the noise like a scalpel. It's less of a debate and more of a masterclass in how to make callers regret picking up the phone. Point 1. Establishing control through framing. O'Brien's opening question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you think this call has gone for you? Is not only pointed but also strategic. It sets the tone for the conversation and subtly asserts dominance. By suggesting the caller is already losing the argument, O'Brien frames the exchange in a way that undermines the caller's confidence. This rhetorical maneuver puts the caller on the defensive, a critical first step in steering the conversation. Exposing logical inconsistencies, O'Brien excels in identifying and exposing contradictions in the caller's reasoning. The statement, "Do you know why you can't word it, because your thoughts don't make sense," is a masterstroke in direct communication. Rather than debating abstract points, O'Brien focuses on the caller's inability to articulate a coherent argument. This tactic forces the listener to confront the weakness of their own position, which is especially effective in live discourse. Contrasting moral standards. The most striking element of this exchange is O'Brien's skillful comparison of the caller's views on Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. By juxtaposing the claim that Prince Andrew is an innocent victim of circumstances, with the assertion that Prince Harry's move to California constitutes a moral failing, O'Brien highlights the inherent double standard. This exposes the caller's bias and invites the audience to question the validity of their argument. O'Brien's use of this contrast is both subtle and devastating, as it reframes the discussion around the caller's subjective judgment rather than the fact. Encouraging audience reflection. While the caller may have been left floundering, O'Brien's approach also serves a larger purpose, engaging the audience in critical thinking. By dismantling the caller's argument piece by piece, he invites listeners to assess their own biases and perspectives. His ability to pivot from individual critique to broader societal commentary elevates the exchange from a mere debate to an educational moment. Maintaining professionalism and wit. Throughout the exchange, O'Brien balances directness with wit, avoiding unnecessary aggression. Lines like, "You think Prince Andrew is an innocent victim of circumstances conspiring against him," while cutting, are delivered in a measured tone that prevents the conversation from devolving into hostility. This professionalism ensures that O'Brien retains credibility with his audience while still holding the caller accountable. James O'Brien's handling of this caller exemplifies his skill as a broadcaster and commentator. By maintaining control of the conversation, exposing inconsistencies, and using humor and logic to highlight biases, O'Brien demonstrates his ability to navigate complex and contentious topics with precision. His performance not only leaves the caller on the ropes but also engages the audience in critical reflection, solidifying his reputation as a sharp and effective communicator, and so, the caller left the conversation in a state of rhetorical defeat, clutching at the remnants of their arguments like a shipwrecked sailor grasping at splinters of logic. James O'Brien, ever the intellectual fencer, sheathed his metaphorical sword, leaving the audience chuckling at yet another masterclass in exposing cognitive dissonance. Somewhere, Prince Andrew's PR team sighed with relief, grateful for even the faintest attempt at a defense, however doomed it was from the start. As for Prince Harry, he was likely sunning himself in California, blissfully unaware of the chaos his name continues to cause across radio waves. Perhaps the real lesson here is that Harry's move to escape drama has ironically created more of it, and James O'Brien, like a skilled conductor, knows exactly how to orchestrate the crescendo. If callers keep bringing such comedic material to the table, O'Brien's audience won't just tune in for the debate, they'll be staying for the show.